In this video, I'm going to show you how I turn this sick Oscar Key 43 into a kitbashed plane that I use in my comic book, and later I turn into an animation. So come on, let's do this. So this was like a $5 model I got off of eBay, and it was sitting around on the shelf, and I figured what would be a fun one-day build. There weren't a lot of pieces to it. This is probably from the late 60s, early 70s, so the plastic is old and brittle. When I was in the process of pre-production on V2039, Death Waves Goodbye, I knew I needed planes in it, and I started building a couple of kits to get a sense of like what type of aircraft would be in this comic book. And I built this Dornier Anteater, and it was designed to basically intercept bombers. But I thought it was really interesting that they had an engine that was a pusher in the tail and a typical engine that pulls the aircraft in the front. And I was like, you know, this is really unique. And then I found this Blohm + Voss BV192. And what I really liked about this is that when the Germans designed it, they put the propeller and engine behind the cockpit, which I thought was unique. And then they set it up so that if the pilot ever had to eject, he pushed a button and the blades of the propeller would actually explode and get shot off. Because if he opened the cockpit and jumped out, he would immediately get pushed into a slicing and dicing machine. So I thought that was really interesting. And then I made this Kyushu fighter, which was designed for the end of World War II, and it has the engine at the back. So I was thinking, what could I do differently for my comic book? So I kind of combined this and came up with this, which is putting the propeller blade in the middle of the fuselage between the cockpit and the tail, just because it's unique to my world of V2039. Once the fuselage was assembled, I just cut it in half, cut off the propeller blades. I created a circular piece for the new shaft and then sealed up the fuselage side and then the tail side with plastic pieces capping them so that I could run a piece in between to hold everything together. When I was painting this, I knew that I wanted this to be part of the ASCA Air Force. And so, you know, I had to design the insignia of the flag for this country called ASCA, these islands. It's interesting because this is based on part of Japanese mythology of this phoenix called the Yuho bird. And ASCA in Japanese, kanji for it, is basically flying bird. So I knew that you need a bird motif in their insignia and their flag. When I got this model, I had just bought this kit of Japanese World War II fighter paint by Vallejo. I chose like a Japanese army green, and then underneath it's the sky gray that they use. Once it was done, just doing chipping in aluminum to show where the paint would be peeling off. Since the Japanese fought in the Pacific and it's very humid there, so one of the things they frequently had problems with was that the paint would flake off their aircraft. So I tried to represent that here in places where the pilot would be climbing in and out of the cockpit, so that area would obviously chip paint more. The little chipping also adds a sense of aging and weathering that sort of makes it even more unique as opposed to just like a straight color scheme. If you've seen my videos, you know that I'm an avid model collector, but there is a method behind the madness. Collecting all of these kits allows me to then reimagine them and use them in a comic book panel or an animated sequence. In the old days, Disney had models of every single character that you would draw from, so you knew what they looked like from 360 degrees. For films, frequently they would build dioramas of their sets so that they could figure out how they would go about shooting it. Now, you know, it's digital and people don't seem to do that anymore, but I find that I need to build stuff physically to figure out how I use it. Sometimes it's just as simple as, what does it look like from the back or from the top or from the bottom as it's flying by? Or in this case, like, oh, I really like Godzilla, I like Mechagodzilla. So actually having this where it's tangible and you can hold, you can get a sense for how would I really show this guy? What's the best side to show this from? Which is, what's the best way to tell a story with a sequence of visual shots? And so you're always coming back to that is, how do I tell the story? How do I tell the story? What is the story? How do I tell it? What is the story? How do do I tell it? What is the story? How do I tell it? And then you have the tools, the models to build it out. So what could start with just a simple story about a plane flying through the air becomes a plane flying through the air attacking Mechagodzilla and then getting blown up by fiery laser breath. And before you know it, you've created a world from one idea. Here it is, Mechagodzilla versus the Oscar. If you like these model to frame videos, please let me know in the comments below and I'll keep making them. And if you haven't got your copy yet, please pick up V2039 Death Waves Goodbye Book 1, available at v2039.com.